Hi, and welcome to the channel. My name is Amanda, and I share how I navigate the human experience through a spiritual lens. On Monday, October 6th, around midnight Eastern Standard Time, we have a full moon rising. That full moon is called the Hunter's or the Harvest Moon. And the main themes for this moon are transition, preparation, and spiritual change. It's named after the tradition of hunting and gathering that happens in the fall season in preparation for the winter months. We just came out of a very strong eclipse season in September. You'll have to tell me in the comments how it was for you because it was brutal for me. I'm not joking. This was a tough one for me. And that likely fueled some releasing of things, whether intentionally or not. And that release now sets us up for transformation into new ways of being or closer to our most authentic expression ourselves. Eclipse seasons, if you don't know, are very intense periods of recalibrating us towards the journey that our soul wants to take in this lifetime. And when we're sensitive to it or we're aware of it, we can participate in that process without feeling confused or dysregulated. It's called co-creating. We're co-creating with the universe. If you still have to go through that necessary release process, it's not too late. So I encourage you to have the courage and really take a close look at the things, the thought patterns, the behaviors, the people, and so on that is in your life. And ask yourself just one simple question. Sit with your journal, go into meditation, and ask yourself, does this support who I want to be? We can't make room for growth and transformation without some level of clearing. We can't go through spring if we don't go through winter and fall. I have several videos here on my YouTube channel. I'll link some for you below that talks about the releasing energies that are available to support us and help us in this journey here throughout the fall season. And I've pretty much documented my personal fall purge and release process on Instagram. So feel free to browse there. And as you're browsing, if you find my content helpful and useful, if there's some golden nuggets for you, I'd be most grateful for a like, a subscribe, a comment to help me grow this channel. It also gives me a chance to feel my audience and see what messages there are for folks who engage with me. So back to the Hunter's Moon. This moon continues to support us in this releasing process and we've been talking about. And it really particularly supports us in bringing clarity about where we need to take action or make a change. I know you're likely getting tired. I'm getting tired. I feel it. And you're probably starting to feel the pull towards slowing down here in the winter months. So I want to encourage you to take a weekend off and rest or do something that gives you a break and then give it one final push towards what you want to see blossom here in the springtime. So take care of yourself and then come back at it for just a little bit more. These fall energies are about taking the time to reflect and gain clarity about what we want to shift towards it for our lives here towards the new year and putting action behind those intentions. Just one more push. Rest's coming, I promise. It's much like those flower bulbs that have to be planted in the fall season and then they can blossom in the spring. All throughout winter, when we do this, all throughout the winter months, those intentions that we set will then mature, it'll germinate, you'll get messages and downloads on how to make those come to fruition all under the soil during the winter months as we rest. And then usually we get to see them blossom in the springtime if we do the work here in the fall. So the new moon is where 2 weeks ago is where we set some new intentions. And now here at the full moon, those intentions can come to culmination or come to fruition if we put mindful action behind it, right? So the universe, it cannot give us that we don't invest in. It can only reflect to us what we put in motion. But ultimately, the spark or the catalyst to initiate what we want to usher into our lives has to come from us. We are the spark. We are the catalyst that makes it happen. The universe doesn't do things to us or make things happen to us. It supports our soul's journey in this lifetime. So it will always have life show up for us. See how I flipped the script there? Life shows up for us to help our soul achieve its most authentic expression and the journey that our souls want to take in this lifetime. Another interesting thing that happens this time of year are the energies of death and endings that can be sensed. We see this across many pagan cultures in particular, but also in different mainstream religions and in celebrations like the Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos or Samhain, even in some Chinese medicine where autumn is viewed as a season of grief. Who knew? And I find that connection so telling in that nature naturally moves into a state of dying and decay towards the winter months. And the energetic experiences aside, things like seasonal affective disorder may also start to pop up. So, your mental health starts getting heavier. But what I find so beautiful about this season is that the nourishment that then comes out of that seemingly dark process is precisely what supports the blossoming in the spring. The leaves decay and they fuel the blossoming of the tree. So it makes sense if past pains or nostalgias emerge or the need for shadow work comes up. You realize there's something that you need to, work on yourself. Shadow work, if you don't know, is that process of exploring the unconscious parts of ourselves, things like repressed fears, desires, or even negative traits that we don't like about ourselves. And these are the darker sides of our thought patterns and behaviors that addresses things like when we self-sabotage, when we self-betray, or past trauma that still sits in our bodies and that interferes with our wholeness and our sense of self and our experience now here in today. There's a really great book that I've linked in my link tree called The Body Keeps the Score, and that delves really deep into this whole subject of shadow work. If you don't have a therapist, I have to say this caveat, if you don't have a therapist or someone to guide you through some of these really deeply seated topics, if they pop up for you, now would be a really good time to onboard that support for yourself. The support of a therapist can be a huge help with these deeper, darker topics as we start to uproot them and face them full on. I just found myself a therapist that I align with, and I'm already seeing a huge benefit play out in my life. But I've regressed a little bit. The point is, feeling a bit emotionally heavier here in the fall season is completely normal, and it really, I would say, an indication that you are aligned with the gifts that nature brings to us this time of year, right? The content on my channel is all about flowing with the patterns of nature and working with those energies that are naturally already available to us. So great ways to work with the energies of the hunter's moon are releasing rituals like having pieces of paper, writing on what you want to release and burning it and letting it go energetically. Revisiting the intentions that you set at the new moon 2 weeks ago and checking in with yourself to see if you've put any inspired action behind it, right? If you haven't, get into action. And then also honoring the darker aspects of the season and yourself through journaling, that shadow work I just talked about, or even just doing some cleansing rituals, which I'll talk about in another video. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you're seeing any of these energies that we just talked about play out in your life. What's it looking like for you? What are you learning? What are you experiencing? What are coming to the surface? And let's co-create and learn from each other. I wish you a wonderful 2 weeks. I'll be back on the new moon. Take care.